All right. So in this class, I want us to consider how to use the table method in drawing of the graphs or to sketch the straight line graphs. Remember, in our previous class, we talked about the issue of the points where you need to mark the points on a Cartesian plane given X and Y. We talked about this where you can mark any point, whatever that you are given, depending with the given point. So those points that we had together, they are going to make up a straight line. Let us say you have got a Cartesian plane that you are given. You marked a point that you have. These are the points that you have. These points joined together can form what we refer to as a straight line, which is called the straight line graph or a linear function. That is a linear graph, a line. So you are going to notice all these formats, the equations of this way represent a straight line. Y is equal to mx plus c. This is the format, the presentation of an equation of a straight line, where if you check on x there, the highest power or exponent is 1. Once it is given like that, where the highest power is 1, it is going to be a straight line. So if you note all this, it's just x. So it's to the power of 1. Every power that you have there, it's a 1. You're not going to have this as x squared like this. No, it's no longer a straight line when it is like that. So that is what you need to note when dealing or working with a straight line. Okay. Now let's go straight to the table method. You want to draw a straight line. So the table method, I want you to remember what we talked about in our term 2. Okay, in our term 2, we had a condition where we talked about the input and output values, if you still remember that part. If you remember this, you are not going to have a problem at all because you were given a certain presentation where you have got input values giving you the output values on the other side, where this is our input and this is our output. So you were having a certain relationship that was given here. This relationship that we are seeing or that we can be given is the same as writing y is equal to 2x, y is equal to 3x, y is equal to minus 5x. It is a relationship that you can use where you can input a certain value. Maybe there is a 1 here. You put the 1 in place of x to obtain the output, which is 2 times 1, and you get a 2. Remember that part. It is the same thing. When I was talking about the input, remember I was saying X represents the input, Y represents the output. If you still remember that. That is the same part that you're going to use. But this time, you are going to present in form of a table. So this table is going to give us the X and the Y, where the X is the input. Are you seeing that? We are still back to the same part that we had before. So where X is the input, and Y here is representing the output values. So in this case, since X is the input, you are supposed to choose any values from the X. So choose any values. So sometimes you are given an interval like this one, -2, 0 to 2. They will give you that. Sometimes you're not given. So if you're not given, you just choose at least 3 points for reference. Choose at least 3 values or 3 X values. All right, so that is your choice. You choose these values, then you substitute whatever that you are going to have. You substitute the values in terms of X. In terms of X, because these are values of X, any 3. You must substitute the values that you are given into the function that is to obtain the Y value, just like that. So this is the situation that you're going to use throughout. Choose the values, you substitute. So in this case, as you are going to have your values, like I said, you can just have 3 values. They're fine. You can have more than that. A straight line does not need as many points, guys. 3 points are enough for you to draw a straight line. We are going to talk about another method which just uses 2 points. Imagine 2 points only. Only 2 points. So meaning to say, if we have got 3 points, they're actually enough. So the x values are your choice. They are taken from the x-axis, from the domain, which is the x values. You'll be given the x values, which is called the domain. I'm not going to talk about much about this word domain. But for now, what I just need you to understand is that you choose these x values from the like this, like what you're given there. It is showing you that we are going to take our x from -2, 0, 2. So you'll be given, sometimes you're given your x values, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. These are x values. You just choose any 3 that you want to work with. So it depends with what you are going to have. This part, it depends with what you are given. Then y here, since it is the output, it is controlled by what? By x. Whatever that you input for x must determine the y. So do not worry about this y, because let's say you are given y is equal to 2x, and I need to substitute maybe x being -2. This one is the input. It's your choice. It's yours, the one that you choose. Then you substitute that 2 into -2. You obtain the y value 2 times -2. Remember, 2x means 2 times x. So it's 2 times -2, which is -4. So if I have x value, I can obtain the y value. So that is going to help us to draw whatever graph by marking those points that you're given. All right, so like I said, let us quickly rush through into our questions. Y is equal to x. That will be our first question. We want to draw or just have a sketch of this line of y is equal to x. All right, so in this case, I want you to understand what we are given there. Y is equal to x is equal. They are the same. Whatever value of x that you're going to have, it is the same as the value of y. It is the same. So let's say I'm given xy in this case, and on this part of my graph, in this case, let's say we have got something like this. We have got our values. I'm just going to use this 0. Remember, this is your x. So from the x here and this y, you're going to have your 0 along the x and y, this one. So going to the right side, remember, it's positive. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. On this other side, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, and so on. Going up on the y, it's positive on the y going up. So it means it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. All right. Then going down, remember, it's negative in the y. So you're going to have -1, -2. All right, let me just see here, guys. See now, these two, they are giving a challenge here. Let me see this one. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. All right, something like that, and so on and so on. These are the values that you're going to have on your graph. So why am I having this? Because these x values, remember, they are the input. X represents the input. So you must take these from what you are given. Sometimes they can draw this Cartesian plane for you. They can draw something like this for you, where you can see your x values. It does not mean that you must use all the values, -6, -5, -4, -3, no. You are supposed to do something like that. But like I said, just take any 3, they're enough. You're supposed to just use 2, but just 3, they're enough. So I can choose, it's my choice. Along this x-axis, the input. Remember, x is the what? The input. So like I said, choose any 3. All right, let's say I want this value of x, which is at -3 and at 0 and also at 3. It's my choice, guys. These are the x values that I want to work with. You are going to have the same line with someone who decided to use -5, maybe 1, and a 5. you are going to have the same line passing through the same points. Do not worry about that. All right. So in my case, I'm going to use -3, 0, and 3. Okay, just 3 is enough. So x, we decided to use -3, 0, and 3. Okay. So let's say these are the values of x that I want to use to determine the y values. Let's say this is what I have. I want to have the output. Remember, y is the output. So the output is controlled from the input. But in this case, y and x, they're the same. Y is equal to x. So meaning to say, if y is equal to x and I substitute the x value, which is -3, y is equal, in place of x here, I put -3. What does it mean? Y is also equal to -3. Y and x, they are equal. It's just like x is equal to y. Remember the concept, a is equal to b, therefore b is equal to a. These two are just the same. So if if x is -3, y is also going to be -3. The same, if x is 0, y is going to be a 0 also. If x is 3, y is going to be a 3 also. You just substitute in place of what? In place of x. That's a 0 there. In place of x, x is a 3. So in place of x, if you substitute a 3, y is going to be a 3. So that part, we do not see the effect because they are just the same. So this is it. Do not worry about that. So what is it that you're going to consider from the table? What is this table giving us? Remember, this is x versus y. X value giving the y value. So it's like a point that you have now. This one, it's a point. Remember, a point is given as xy, the part that we talked about in our previous class. So it's a point, this one, where x is -3 and y is -3. You're supposed to write it like this: -3, -3, where x is -3, y is -3. So you can interpret from the table, x is -3, y is -3. We can mark that point. All right. Remember, that was our previous class. Let's mark the point where x is -3 and y is -3. X is -3 here, y is -3 here. They meet where they meet at this point. That is where you mark your point in that case. All right. So these two, -3 for x, -3 for y, they meet at this point. You mark the point. All right. Let's move on to another point. Other point that is there is 0 versus 0, where x is 0, y is also a 0. So that is on the origin. Remember the origin here, both x and y will be equal to 0, where the two meet, where the x-axis and the y-axis meet. They meet at 0, 0, which is the origin. That's where your 0, 0 is. All right, another point is 3, 3. When x is 3, y is also a 3. That is what it means. When x is 3, y is also a 3. So this is y, this is our x. Where they meet somewhere there. Where they meet, you are going to mark a point where x is 3 and y is 3. Where they meet here, you mark a point. X is being 3, y is being 3. They meet at a certain point. That is where you mark it. So like I said, 3 points are enough. In actual sense, you're going to have a lot of points. Maybe there was a 1, 1, there was a 2, 2. If you're going to have those points, still, if you draw a line, as you can see, they're passing through the same points. So do not worry about that. 3 points, they're just enough. Just in case, why am I saying 3 points? Because you might have a mistake on one of the points. Then you can easily correct yourself when it is like that. All right. So joining these points, and as you are joining these points, you will be having your ruler. So you place your ruler along these 3 points. Do not just join from this point up to this point. No. At least just extend that. All right. So this is it, guys. Let me just try and see if I'm going to win. All right. So let's say we have got our points just like what we had them. We are going to join them. All right. So like I said, as you are joining, do not just join from this point to this point. Just extend your lines. All right. From the points that you are given, just try to extend. Just like this. I'm just gonna try from here, joining, extending them like that. All right, something like that. So this is what you're going. So you place your ruler on top, like you place a ruler on these points, then you just draw. So you see that your ruler is something that is straight. So definitely the line is going to be a straight line. And with that, you can even indicate the equation. You are supposed to write the equation, the relationship that is happening between y and x. So that is y is equal to what? To x. Remember, we are given y is equal to x. So you can write your equation, y is equal to x. Just like that. So meaning to say, we can present this line. We can draw the line using points. All right. So if you check, this is just similar to this question 5, where we are given y is equal to minus x. What just changed in this case? What is it that changed? Because the previous one, it was y is equal to x, but this time we need y is equal to x. Y is equal to minus x. Minus x. I just need to finish up this one so that we see the relationship between these two lines. We are going to notice something about these two lines. Remember, we need x and y there. Then we're just going to need 3 points that we are going to work with. So in this case, like I said, 3 points will be enough of your choice. All right. So in this case, let's say we decide to use the same point that we have, minus 3, 0, and a 3. Let's say these are the ones that we want to use again, where x is minus 3, 0, or a positive 3. But this time, take a closer look on your equation. Y is equal to minus x, minus. There's a minus there. So meaning to say, for each and every value that I substitute, there must be a minus. So our x here is minus 3, which is very true. Our x is a minus 3, but already on the formula, already on our equation, there is a minus. So you're not supposed to forget this minus. So it's minus into minus 3. X is minus 3 already. So y is going to be what? Minus times a minus. That is going to be a positive. So y is going to be a positive 3. So do not mistaken with the previous case where y was equal to x. They were the same. If you just substitute 3, it is not affected by any sign. It's just a plus and a plus, a plus. It does not affect anything. But a minus, it affects. All right. So what about if x is equal to 0? Are we going to have a minus 0 in it? No. Remember, 0 is a neutral number. It's plus or minus at the same time. So 0 is not going to be written as plus or minus. It's just a 0. All right. Then we move on where x is a 3. Y is equal to minus, remember, on our equation. But our x is what? Our x here. This is our x. Our x is 3. So meaning to say y is going to be minus times a 3, minus and a plus. Remember what you're going to have? That's a minus. So meaning to say that is going to be a minus 3. These points are enough. You're going to sketch with this point. If you're given a graphical presentation like this, so you need, like I said, follow points as they are. When x is minus 3, y is positive 3 this time. So we need where x is minus 3, and on the y-axis is supposed to be positive 3. Y is supposed to be positive, x negative 3. So where are these 2 points meet? Minus 3 here, positive 3 here. They meet at this point. Where these two meet, you mark that point. All right, just like that. All right, as we can see, there's a point that is not changing. The 0, 0, it is both for the line of y is equal to x. For the line of y is equal to minus x, we also have the point 0, 0, which is our origin. So we're just going to have that. Then 3 versus minus 3. When x is 3, y is minus, this is it. X, y there is minus 3, but x is what? X is positive 3. Y is the one that is at minus 3. So where x is a positive 3, y is supposed to be a negative 3. So where are these 2 points meet? They meet here. Where they meet, you mark a point. So we saw that the 3 and the minus 3 on the y, they meet at this point, okay? 3 on the x, minus 3 on the y. That is it. You have a point. 3 points like this, they are enough. We have or to draw this line. These points are actually enough. You can draw your straight line using the idea or concept that we are having. Like I said, as you are joining, just make sure you do extend your points. Do not just mark up to from that point to that point, like from this point to this point, just extend your line, like just like that. So this is the line of y is equal to minus x. So are we seeing that This just had a positive gradient. It is its steepness going up like this. The minus x is just going the other way, but it maintains a certain property which is important. If you check, this line is very, very symmetrical. As you can see, it is dividing our graph into two equal parts from the quantity that we have. Well, this is one, this is one, this is two, this is two, this is three, this is three. This one is also dividing our graph in the other side equally. These boxes, if you check the corner of these boxes equally on top, it is dividing that. So you can also feature or just understand those properties as well. So given a negative, given a positive, given whatever that I'm given, is it a fraction? Do not even what about that? It is the same consideration that you're going to have. So let's just say we are given something like number 6y is equal to minus 2x. Just the same idea. The same concept that you had. So if you are given y is equal to, that is minus 2x. Let's see. Y is equal to minus 2x. Same concept. So same concept. Just choose any three values of x that you're going to have. It's not like you're going to choose everything there. No. So let's say I've got something like this. Okay. We have got something like this. Then we choose our x values from what? Our Cartesian plane, from the graph, from the x values, any of our choice. All right, so let me just say this time I decide to use minus 2, and also I decide to use a 1 and a 3. All right, it's a choice, guys. Minus 2, 1, and 2. All right, and 3. I said minus 2, 1, and a 3. As long they're just 3, even more than that. If you want, you can use more than that. A table method. Do not worry about that. So you can substitute value of x into the x, because that's a relationship that you're given of x and y. So you can obtain the output y given the x value. So it's minus 2. Remember your substitution, guys. Minus 2x means minus 2 times x times. It's a multiplication. So that's minus 2 times our x value. Here it's what? Minus 2. Or just open a bracket. Minus 2 into minus 2. So y is going to be what? Minus 2 times minus 2. That's a positive 4. So if y is minus 2, x will be a positive 4. With the same concept, if this x is 1, y is going to be what? Minus 2 times x, which is 1. So y is going to be minus 2, or just minus 2 times 1 in a bracket. So you have got the y value, minus 2. Same concept. If this x is a 3, so y is going to be minus 2 times x, and our x is 3. So y is going to be a minus 6. Just like that. So you've got a point there, minus 6. These 3 are enough to have or to draw or to sketch this graph. So you've got minus 2 versus what? Versus a 4, where x is minus 2, y is a positive 4. So we must locate where in the x values first. X is minus 2 here, y is 4 here. Where are these going to meet? They're going to meet at this point. That is where these two meet. That is where you mark a point there, where x is minus 2 and y is 4. Guys, I just hope you understand this from our introduction of marking or labeling these points on a Cartesian plane. So if not, make sure that you watch that video. It can help you a lot. So that's minus 4 versus minus 2 versus a 4. Let's move on to another point. That is 1 versus minus 2. X is 1, y is minus. It's just like this. 1 minus 2. X is 1, y is minus 2. So we need where x is 1 and y is minus 2, where these two meet. This is minus 2. This is 1 for x. They meet at this point here. Where they meet, you're going to mark that point where x is 1 and y is minus 2. That's a point. X is 1, y is minus 2. The last point that you are given or that we calculated from our choice, like it's a choice. Just choose any of your choice. Minus 3 and minus 6, where x is 3, y is minus 6. So we're going to locate that point x here being 3 and y being -6. So 3 going down and -6, they meet here. This is -6 and the 3 for x, as you can see, they meet here. Where these two meet, you mark a point. So take note, x is positive, y is negative. So where these two meet, you mark a point. So these points are enough for us to obtain a line. So we are going to join the line or passing through the given points that we are having in this case, all right? So that is going to be something like this. Just hope it's going to be fine because these points are a little bit separated, but it must be, oh, sorry guys. Oh, I forgot to put this back. It must be something of this nature going somewhere like that. All right, so like I said, just make sure you draw extending, passing through points that you are given there. So that is our graph, which is of y is equal to what? -2x. So y is equal to -2x. Just like that. So the line, just from the table, is the same as what we had before, working with input and output values. We're having input values, substituting, obtaining output values. So even if you are given this y is equal to half of x, just going to help you to have this table, half of x. We are told to use the values -2. We're just going to choose our x to be -2, a 0, and a 2. So you just substitute. In place of x, y is equal to the half of x. So if x is -2, that will be half of -2. 1/2 times minus. You can even use your calculator or just cancel. That's -1. You move on. If your x is equal to 0, that is y is going to be half of times a 0. Half of a 0, that's a 0. So means we've got a 0 there. Same thing if this x is a 2. So it is going to be half times a 2, and half of 2 is 1. Just like that. So still you've got the same combination of points. You mark those points, then you've got a line. Just like that. So I want us to work with more questions. Let's revise as many questions as we can as we prepare ourselves for the exams ahead of time. We shall come out with the exam questions so that you do understand also how are they going to ask these typical questions in your final exams. But for now, that's it, guys, for Maison African Motives. Till we meet again.